Today's guests are a family business. They sold a business that was doing 3.5 million of revenue, and they're starting out again. In just 36 months, they built it to 1.2 million pounds worth of revenue, but they're frustrated by their growth stages. So they want to get to the next level. We're going to have a conversation on just how you can do that. So strap yourselves in. Hello campers, welcome back to the Business Broadcast. Now, we must remember to mention Podcast Live before we get into this conversation.
Let's do it right now.
Well,
hard sell people.
Because if this is someone that's just come onto the podcast, maybe we should just give a bit of context to what we do.
Oh, okay, fine.
Because more and more new listeners than ever before.
But you should come and see it live, though.
Yeah, you should come see it live.
We got told off by Chuds last time he didn't mention it until an hour in.
Yeah.
After he said, mention it at the beginning, we're like, yeah, fine, we'll do that. Then didn't.
Well, if you are new to this podcast, first of all, though, the whole premise is we want to help entrepreneurs that are already growing a business. So we're not really for startups, but, you go in and you've got some revenue in the bag, but you're frustrated, you're dissatisfied, and you want to take your business to the next level. That is the common theme, but they all want to grow.
Yes.
So we are very lucky that we have really great people in that have got a completely different range of businesses. And I don't care what sector you're in. Actually, some of the biggest learns, I think, for entrepreneurs and business owners is when they listen to something in a different sector to what they're in.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe you've got a restaurant and you're hearing a builder's merchant doing something. Oh, actually, we could steal some of that stuff and put it into our business. Here's the thing that I know, that big corporate companies are increasingly looking to recruit out of sector to bring in people into their business. For example, I know a big childcare chain, one of the biggest in the country. I know that they're looking to recruit retail professionals into childcare to be their leadership management, to give a different point of view on the look and feel of nurseries. And the auditing that retail does, because retail is like, if you don't have your shop looking really good, the stuff don't sell. And that back of mind thinking that we constantly talk about here on the podcast, retailers are very good at. Like if you're a good retailer that's making money, you get back of mind thinking. You don't. They're working on stuff that their customers don't know that they
consciously aware of.
That makes them do the buying of.
Why did I buy that thing? Because it was put to you in a certain way.
Correct. Yeah.
So they recruited like C-suite level specifically out of sector,
out of industry, because they're just getting people with the same old stuff,
which makes sense, doesn't it?
And I think you're seeing that happening more and more.
Do you think that's part of your secret source of success? Well, that should be another integrated vertical. Secret, you could have a success source. Yeah, we'll sell that live on the merch stand. Live on June the 10th. See, I'll keep getting the mentions in. Yeah. But do you think because you've got you fold stuff into existing empire, but it's actually, when you look at it, yes, it fits underneath your umbrella, but it is quite varied. It's food services, it's childcare, it's soft play centres, it's farm parks. So you are getting lots of different people from different backgrounds and lots of different.
Oh, no, I think I know where you're getting at here. If we see something going on in ice cream food manufacturing, that's a really good thing we've discovered there. Should we put it into childcare or leisure, or into the hotel or whatever else we're doing?
But do you have management that do stuff in a certain way? You're like, why are we doing it like that? And they're like, oh, this is why we do it in this space. You're like, okay, that makes sense. We should do it.
We are definitely taking stuff that we've learned in leisure into Rossi coffee shops and ice cream shops.
Such as what? Like what?
How we manage and audit the businesses.
Okay.
Because that wasn't happening there.
Do you, things like, because I've heard you talk about
marketing is definitely, if we see something really working, like a particular campaign has worked that we would never have considered doing in another sector, well, let's give that a go over here.
Okay.
For example, I'd like to give examples here. If we're doing a lot on Google Ads now.
Yeah.
On party pieces. We never really were Google Ads people. We're much more meta spend for leisure and days out.
Yeah.
But we're learning so much about Google Ads and getting really quite smart at it that we will use some of that now to fill our nurseries up, to get people for days out.
Are you a fan of Google Ads from what you've seen so far?
Well, I'm not a fan of paying them 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month.
But if it brings you 70, 80, 90 grand a month, surely you would be.
Correct.
So I'll ask you again. Don't make me get all Jeremy Paxman on you, investigative journalism. I was going to say Jeremy Clarkson then because of your gilet. Yeah. Are you a fan of Google Ads from what you've seen so far?
I think Google Ads can give businesses instant results and growth. I think Google Ads are really good if you've got good lifetime value.
Right.
So let's think of a sector that has great, like childcare.
So childcare would be great, wouldn't it?
£100 to get a lead and they're with you for 4 years. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
If you spend £100 to get a customer and only spend £200 with you in their lifetime, like going out to a hotel that you might only go once.
Yeah.
It's all about average transactional value. Like if you're spending 100 and they're going to spend 10 grand with you and they're going to spend 100 grand over a lifetime with you. That's amazing, isn't it?
How do you get over that with regard to party pieces? Because obviously they might return, but their average order spend is like the lower end of the businesses that you've got. What's your average transaction? Like 25, 30 quid, something like that?
Yeah, £33.64, I think, last time I checked earlier today.
You look so smug then.
Yeah. Well, let me think about how
because you like the 4 touch points, like they keep coming back to you again and again.
Definitely trying to make party pieces your regular place to go to, like Moonpig, like Thoughtful, like what's the other one called? Funky Pigeon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like if you buy birthday cards, you might be buying from them
stuff.
6 to 10 times a year. So we're definitely trying to go down more like that model.
And how are you doing that? Are you bringing things in like reminder calendars in their email sequences and all that kind of stuff?
Today, I said, should we be calling all of our customers up? We've got 300,000 customers that have bought from us in the last 3 years or whatever on the database.
Wow.
Should we be calling them up saying, look, have you got a birthday coming up? How can we help? Do you know about all these new things that we're doing? And I got a definitely no from my team today.
I was about to say, what was the feedback?
No, we don't want to do that. We'll just send an email. I said, but everyone's bloody sending an email. Shouldn't we be trying to do more unusual stuff that less people are doing right now? We produce a printed catalogue and send that out. I think you need to be doing that a lot to get results. We spent 40 grand on printing catalogues and sending it in the post in November. I don't think we got a return on that.
Is that trade that you were sending that to? Or was that
to direct to consumers?
Oh, was it? Okay.
But I now shall bring you on to the biggest way of solving, I think, that sort of business is making sure you have an element of wholesale and direct to consumer within the ecosystem. I made a video about that just very recently on my main YouTube channel, not this one, called How I'm Going to Make £5 million a Year on Shopify this year.
That was a good video. I like that.
Did you watch it?
I did. I've not watched all of it, clearly, because I've not seen the...
It was only 12 and a half minutes.
I know, but there's so much other great content that you've given.
You haven't watched it?
Yeah, I didn't know. I did. I started watching it.
It can't have been a very good video.
No, it was a good video. I just got distracted. Do you know why it was?
Well, your wife came in naked and said, stop watching that video.
She said, she came in naked and I said, are you expecting somebody? And no, do you know what? Because I realised I'd watched it, and then I watched it on the Sunday, but that's also the day that this comes out, and my ego got the better of me. I was like, how receding was my hairline in that video?
Yeah.
And then that took me down a whole... Before I knew it, I was looking at turkey trips.
There you go. Turkey trips.
Right, should we talk? We talked about e-tail, retail, and all the other good stuff, but should we talk about drains?
Yes.
Yes, we shall.
I made some notes because we had a pre-chat with our guest today, who is Dave the Rave.
Dave the Rave. Dave Finley. He's never been called Dave the Rave. We've just given him that nickname.
JB's got a little jingle for you. Hit it. We made a little song up for about you. It's Dave the Rave. What was it? The Raver. Give me the flavour.
Savour the flavour. Yeah.
I
thought you'd like that as an ice cream creator. But Dave Finley is the one of the founders of Fast Fix Drainage. He's been going just under 3 years. They're doing 120 grand a month in getting stuff out of drains.
Yeah.
I remember I had a property management company.
It's got to be recession proof, this, because if you've got a blocked drain.
Oh yeah, like you're calling someone that day. That's where Google Ads could really work, because that is intent-based marketing at its best.
Absolutely.
When you've got a disaster on your hands, you're not shopping on price, you're shopping on speed, aren't you? Can you come and fix it? I remember when I had a property management company, because we had like what was called a HMO, so lots of people in the same house, you'd regularly get the drains were blocked outside into the street and blah, blah, blah. And this old boy turned up the first time, and someone recommended him to me. And I thought, he turns up in this shoddy looking van, and I said, how much is it going to be? It was 250 quid. And I said, is that VAT as well? It went, no, it's cash. And I was like, okay, fine. So I'm sort of laughing, thinking, this old boy, he's doing all right. He must be 80 years old, right? Had a little Jack Russell Terrier. You know, one of them dogs, he just looks like it stinks, probably in a drainage van. And he'd put it about and he'd do 2 or 3 of these a day. I'm going, he's on 750, 800 quid a day.
Yeah.
On just trains. And then I got chatting to him one day. He's like, I'm sorry I'm late. And I was like, all right, what's going on? He had the contract for Charing Cross and London Bridge charging £1,000 a day on-site fee.
Wow.
So I'm sort of looking at this old boy going, oh, it's nice to give him a little job. He's doing about £1 million a year in just rate. He's only got two main things. And it would always take about 2 seconds. Turn up, shove the pole down. Yeah. It didn't matter what was down there. Jim was getting it out of that pipe, and he's off to his next one.
But you're paying for his
expertise.
Yeah.
You're paying for the pole.
Yeah.
That's what they say. It's strip joints and with drainage, isn't it? Yeah. But anyway, so he's doing 120 grand a month. Has he got team members? Yes, 15 of them and 3 directors. It's a family business. He's got a few challenges though, which we talked to him about in the pre-chat chat. Challenge 1, finding trustworthy, reliable staff that are willing to work. That is the challenge with this low perceived level jobs I've found. It's very hard. Everyone who runs these sorts of companies, whether it's cleaning companies, window cleaning, this sort of stuff, tends to be quite difficult to retain good staff. So it'd be good to hear your take on how you'd retain them. Challenge 2, Dave said, I feel we're at a growth ceiling or a wall. Can that be the case? And we talked about that. And I think you've got some ideas about operating profit that you're going to talk to him about. And challenge 3, currently for the day-to-day, relies heavily on the 3 directors, and they want to kind of get themselves out of that situation. Whether they want to be in 1 year's time, they want to be stable and have a profitable business where the hours and the stresses are more manageable than they currently are. What does a business look like when it's finished? It's ready to sell to a large company for £1 million.
Now, I just want to pause here because I think this is really important. If you're going to sell for £1 million, I think you should be building a bit bigger to sell for £3 million. And there isn't that much difference in effort between selling for $1 million to $3 million, in my opinion, because the people that want to buy them for $1 million are usually going to be smaller fry.
Are they going to want to buy at £1 million?
I think there will be other drainage companies. Yeah, I'll buy that. But if you're that much bigger and you've got a management team in place, you'll get a premium for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. So I think, and I don't think it's that much more effort. It's probably another 18 months in the game, but wouldn't they rather have £1 million each rather than 333,000 each and whatever it's going to be? Yeah.
Well, when you put it like that, why would you not? Do you make the profit you want to make? If so, what is it? You just said no. He's not told us any more information. No, it doesn't make the profit he wants to make. Day to day, what are they doing? Now, you mentioned obviously that the directors, well, that's easy, difficult to say. The directors are very heavily involved in the day to day. So he says it feels like we're doing everything in brackets, but it's not. They're booking jobs, managing the field worker schedules, quoting works, doing HR, complaints management, guidance, and all that kind of stuff. So he's very much in it. He's working in it rather than as much time as he should be on it.
Yeah,
as you would suggest to people.
Well, if you're in it, you ain't going to win it, are you? That's
that's a good little tagline.
There's things going around my head, but please, before we actually do this podcast,
I was about to say
let's mention. I mean, we've flirted with it, and we still haven't told everyone. So let's have a podcast jingle. Yeah. We are coming live to the Leicester Square Theatre on
June the 10th
at
Leicester Square Theatre.
At what time?
7 p.m.
There you go. Tickets are only
£32.
Oh, we didn't rehearse this, did we?
No,
we should have gone away with it. If you'd like to come and see the business broadcast live with me and JB, we're coming to Leicester Square Theatre June the 10th, 7 p.m. £32 is your tickets. We would love to see you there. We're going to do a Q&A session, plus we're going to do the podcast live with an audience.
Yep.
It's going to be a great night. And then afterwards, you'll be able to network and meet all the other entrepreneurs and business owners that listen to this podcast so religiously. More of you are listening than ever before. We're regularly we actually got into the top 10 at the weekend.
We did.
For entrepreneurship in Europe, which
did.
we was very, very proud of. More of you are listening than ever before and watching on YouTube than ever before. So if you are a watcher and a subscriber, audio listener, please subscribe where you ever.
The numbers last month were great, weren't they?
I think we had about 80,000 people a month now watching.
That is good going, isn't it? When you think about it.
Watching or listening. So
I'm just doing a live update.
Well over.
There you go, number 15 in the charts, as you said.
Yeah, well over a million people will listen to this podcast every year now.
And that goes to the point. I know you talk about it all the time about sort of doing stuff that is you've got to see far enough into the distance. You've been at this game 3 or 4 years with the podcast, 8 years with
not 3 years. Let's be serious. We're going into year 5 now, so 4 years and 2 months.
4 years and 2 months. YouTube 7-ish years.
YouTube a long time.
But, and I said this to you before, your big event at the end of the year, where you have, a couple of hundred people in, you don't do
250, yeah.
Any ad spend.
No ad spend.
That's unheard of, that someone who is doing an information-based seminar is not having to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds to put bums on seats. So it just goes to show it's worth it. There you go. 1 million people listen to this.
Yeah. Well, I've just done 80,000 a month, times it by 12.
I realise that. I know you've rounded it up from 960, but that's fine.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm saying here is it will keep growing, won't it?
Yeah.
Because more and more people are discovering us every week. So that 80,000 within a whisker will be 100,000 people a month. And then 120,000 people a month. And so, yeah.
And so it goes. So if you'd like to see this podcast, this massive juggernaut of success, live as we roll into London town, get your tickets. Click the link in the show notes. Can we talk about drains now?
No. Just one other thing. If you would like to come on this podcast, applications are open on my website, jamessinclair.net. It's completely free. Now, as you know, if you've got a business, not the reason to come on to expose your business to the world.
We had somebody cancel a couple of weeks ago. He reached out to me and said, do you think I should come and do this? I went, nope. I was like, you are going to get chewed up and spat out. Yeah, and he cancelled.
Yeah. So look, we want people to get business from it because we're a business entrepreneurship show. But really, you're going to have challenges, and you want to grow your business, and you want to be open and honest about it. You'll get business from it and do you know what? You get more business if people think that we've been quite harsh to you, because then people feel sorry for you and then give you loads of money. So that's the way the world works, gang.
I feel like we're preempting a really, really savage conversation with Dave here.
Well, I don't know, Dave. Dave the Raver.
Shall we finally talk about drainage now?
Let's talk about that. Let's bring Dave onto the big show.
Let's jump into it. You can't be Steve Wright. You can't do that already. Dave, are you there?
Thanks for having me.
So in your own words, Dave, could you give us a little summary about Fast Fix Drainage, who you guys are, how you've got to here, how you've done as well as you've done in the last 36 months?
Yeah, of course. So, Fast Fix Drainage and Plumbing, we've been going just over sort of 3.5 years now. We've got sort of 16 employees and 3 directors. It's a proper sort of family-run business with my brother and my dad. My dad and I have worked in the drainage industry for 20 odd years. We had a Dynarod franchise for about 18 years or so. We sold that business just before COVID really kicked in a few years back. Kind of good timing in a way, because that was a horrible time to do business, I think, for a lot of people. But then we just, I stayed working for the new incumbent of the original drainage business, Dynarod franchise area. Wasn't really working for me, I guess, whether that's, just different way of working, different people, that sort of thing, and not having perhaps the freedom that I used to have in terms of what I wanted to do on a day-to-day basis work-wise. So I decided that's where Fast Fix Drainage and Plumbing was born. So we wanted to do things better. We want to offer a better range of services. So not just drains. We want to do plumbing, water supply. We were doing heating and boilers at one point, but we've stopped doing that fairly recently. We wanted to provide a better service, kind of on our own terms, really. We work in the domestic and commercial sectors. So, obviously the experience that we've had over the years has obviously helped probably the growth of this business. But as I was kind of saying, I feel like we're kind of at a bit of a I'm not sure stumbling block's the right phrase, but we're at a point where we're having a few problems, a few struggles now. Hence why I wanted to get in touch to see what expert advice I could pick up from your good selves, basically.
Okay, fine. Just quickly, did you get a good liquidity day when you sold the Dynarod franchise? Was that a day where you made a load of money?
I was only a small shareholder, so I didn't get a lot. I got some, but all of that basically got reinvested into Fast Fix.
Fine.
So, it was okay. But
the reason I asked this...
What did Dynarod actually buy from you guys then? Is it like an order book or...?
So they bought our franchise territory. So we had postcodal areas which we owned contractually.
Through Dynarod?
Through Dynarod.
And then they bought it back from you?
They bought it back and then they kind of resell it on to the next person.
Oh, is that their model, is it?
Sometimes you do a direct sale to the new person, but they have to facilitate it and okay it and stuff like that. So, but most dyno franchisees are in it for the long term, if that makes sense. So they're not readily sold quickly. As I say, we were there 18 odd years or so. So there is franchises that have been going 50 years. It's unreal.
What made you want to sell it?
So basically, we were getting squeezed on costs. So we were paying more and more in terms of royalties and things like that, but getting kind of less for our money. So marketing functions were supposed to be paid for. We had to sort of top that up quite a lot with our own, funding and efforts and that sort of thing, which is fine. But that, and then the service levels and contacts, call centres that they provided weren't up to the standard that we expect or wanted, so it was just kind of ongoing loss of service, I suppose, really. And then I guess the polite way of putting it is, at the end, our values no longer aligned. Should put it that way.
Very political. And did you have like a little independent drainage company before you bought into the franchise to get yourself into the sector, or did you go straight in with the franchise?
No, straight into that. So my dad went straight into that and did sort of on the job training. So it started off, when you're small in that area, you do start off out on the tools, so to speak, and build it from there. So literally, Andy, he started on the tools with one engineer. At one point, that dyno business was covering Hampshire, Somerset, turning over sort of 3.5 million, 30, 40 staff on the book. So from quite very small beginnings, it really did escalate and grow. And I feel that's down to his efforts, my efforts, all of us.
How big did you get in terms of revenue as Dino Rod with your little franchise?
In our little area, so we had I think at our height, we had a turnover sort of, I think it was probably about 3.5 million.
Sorry, 3.5 or 4.5?
3.5.
And then what would you make out of that after paying all the franchise fees?
Yeah, not a lot, and that was a lot of the problem, really. There was a couple of years at the end where we were making a loss because of royalties and territory fees and stealth taxes, as I would call them. And rather than kind of think, well, these guys have been here a long time and they work hard and try and assist us, they were kind of working against us in the end. So it was just not a sustainable relationship.
But did they give you a bulk of the work?
So they had a national marketing team, that would run, I guess they would do SEO, PPC, stuff like that. Obviously, Dynarod has a massive, and rightly so, a very good, in general, reputation because they've been around 55 years or so.
Yeah, everyone knows them.
Probably the most well-known drainage company in the UK, I'd have thought.
I'd agree with that.
So you get infinite amount of leads and things because of that reputation and that longevity, which is part of the attraction of the franchise model with them, because they're so well known. They are a key player, although the market is much more competitive now.
Did it change when they got bought by British Gas?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. If they went from being a business led by an entrepreneur that wanted everyone in his franchise network to make a really solid profit and live a good life, like most entrepreneurs want to do financially, to being obviously very corporate business with different targets and values and KPIs, and it was very much about hitting British Gas's targets and KPIs and keeping them happy rather than the franchisees, in my opinion. So there's a lot of good people there, don't get me wrong, but for us in the end it didn't fit with us, how we wanted. I think in some respects, myself and Andy, we'd improved, our business knowledge had improved over these years, and we weren't the same people as when we started, of course. So we were feeling, well, do we need these people to dictate to us how we run our business, or can we do that better ourselves now? And that was, again, my sort of say Fast Fix was born from that, because we felt we could do it better. Not to the extent of being a national brand of 50 years, but in terms of running a good, solid business the way we want to run it.
Was it like a non-compete when you left, so you couldn't go back into that sector or space, or anything that you had to sort of sign up to on that basis?
Yeah, there was a 12-month period, and Fast Fix, was targeted by them when we started. So us small little family business, two of us and two engineers, were targeted by £100 million turnover British Gas for scaring them, basically, which is ridiculous when you think about it.
They chased you even after the 12 months non-compete?
it was slightly before the 12 months. So, there was
See, tell the truth, Dave. Tell the truth. Centrica are not all evil. You were breaking the rules, Dave. Come on, play the game.
Yeah, I mean, there might have been an element of that, but that's quite a while ago now. But, we had to put food on the table for the kids.
Yeah, I understand. Right, okay, so I've got so many questions here now. So if you was doing 3.5 million with them a revenue, what would you aim to make 10% for yourselves?
Yeah, but I think it was coming in at less than that, to be honest with you, more often than not. And
so my question is, if Fast Fix did 3.5 million of revenue, what would you be able to make?
I'd like to think 15 to 20% really would be the aim.
Let's say you could make 600 grand net profit off of 3.5 million if you got to that easily.
Yeah, I would like to think so.
Why can't you get back to that then? I mean, do you think you can, or is it that there's not enough work? Because if you've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's that brand and reputation that really helps, and with the Dino factor. So far, as I say, we've worked really hard to get to where we are currently, the current sort of turnover and things like that. And I think that's kind of a bit of a larger question that I would probably ask later is, what do you think holds us back from achieving that kind of larger turnover? I think I know what it is. I think there's a real, to get to that point, we would have to grow massively in terms of our operation. I think we probably need our own internal marketing company at the moment. We actually, use an external digital agency. There's a bit of a skills shortage in the trade of drainage and plumbing. So recruiting the right people is really difficult.
I think you could get the work very easily as long as you put marketing spend onto it. My next question was, can you actually find the bleeding people to do the work? Because a lot of people have been on the pod that are in in all trades. I put all trades in there: electricians, plumbers, any professional trade. Getting the people seems to be the challenge. Even we had a few telecommunications people on JP before your time, I think, when I was doing it on my own, and that was always we're getting all the leads. I just couldn't find the engineers to go out and do the bloody work,
That is why we stopped doing gas and heating work, because we could not get the staff to do it to the right standard. So we just thought, we've got to stop this, because it kills you in the end, to be honest.
So the things that I always give advice on that, whilst we're here, if you're like a telecommunications engineer, I said just employ an electrician and train them up, because they'll know half of it, but they just oh my God, it's like a light bulb moment. Like if you're looking for a specialist plumber, just employ that plumber and then train them
in the speciality.
Because they've got the, it's like, we do that in our bakery as well. Like people go, I can't find a bread baker anywhere. But if they can make cakes, let's then train them up. If we're looking for this nuance, the 1 in 1 million people, can you train someone that's got 50% of the skills that wants to learn something else? We're looking for, we've got a lot of slush machines across our estates. And let me tell you now, anyone that owns a slush machine, the bloody things go wrong all the bloody time, as do coffee machines. It's actually quite hard to find a slush machine engineer, but very easy to find a coffee machine engineer. And so we're going to train him up to do both. And he said, I'll be able to learn that. We're going to send him off to Italy for a weekend, because once you understand the nuances of a coffee machine, you know where to put the screwdriver and all that bit there. And I do think a lot of people don't do that. And I think if you're struggling, you've got to get at least half the skills and then train them up yourself.
We actually had a new trainee start on Monday, so it is an area that we put more focus on now.
And the other thing is what entrepreneurs do is they worry about the cost. Bloody can they employ an electrician on 40 grand a year, 45 grand a year, and they can't do everything that I want them to do. I'd rather pay someone 20 grand and teach them that is a false economy, because they will be able to upskill, I think, within 30, very, 60 very days, if not quicker. Because there isn't that much difference between, if someone's doing telephone wires and Cat 5s and 6s and all the stuff for telephones, if they're a qualified electrician, that in many ways is more overskilled, but more people are taught electronics than telephone engineering, to point my argument. So that's that. I've got a few questions before we get into it. when you're, because one of the things you were saying are, as we turn, we make less money because you'll pile money into overhead. Yeah. You said that in there.
Yeah.
I think what's really important for entrepreneurs and business owners that are going to try and go for fast growth is we look at the net profit. Yeah, of course, we want to know what the bottom line is, but we also look at operating profit per business line, especially as you grow the business. And you say, well, look, we're losing money, but our actual operating profit is good. The reason we're losing money is because we've built a design team, a quotes team, a health and safety team, a marketing team, and we need the turnover to get to that next scale for all of that economies of scale to kick in. And that happens to me, by the way, in all of our businesses, because I'm always growing it. So that eats in, middle management eats into profit. Everyone knows that. But I've got a laser focus on individual business lines and looking at operating profit. So you got your gross profit, then your operating profit, and then underneath operating profit before net profit, if you was doing management accounts, you would have all your one-off costs. You don't lie about that. It's just so that you go, well, bloody hell, we lost 50 grand this month, just not making it up. But that's only because we've taken on a new site or a new depot that's losing money until it builds up to profitability. And so that's why operating profit and understanding that and your net profit is really important in a growing business.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
This is to give you your own little cuddle when things like, geez, I lost a load of money here. But this is, then you know why. And obviously the 3 KPI rule, we're producing management accounts every single month and we live and breathe by our management accounts. We care about management accounts more than we do annual accounts. Number 2 is your labour to turnover ratio, that we know what that is, or revenue per employee, and we want as much revenue per employee as we can possibly get to. And then number 3 is your average customer value or average order value, and we want to be driving that up, not just driving our turnover up. Yeah. Do you track those 3 things religiously?
So we do actually in the main, yes. So we always have monthly management accounts, sometimes a little bit further behind than we'd like, but yes, we do look at the percentage labour to turnover cost. And again, that's something that's increased quite a bit over the past 12 months or so.
Just to dive in here so I don't forget as the monologues continue, what we do in our business is we break that down by department. So you've got you should put labour for the cost of goods sold or the cost of sale into and before gross profit, because they are, they're on the tools, they're in the van. So those people, but anyone that's a head office role should be in administration. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yes. Yeah.
So you really, because you're growing this fast, you must understand these. You can't, if you're bringing in more engineers and they're direct result of turnover, that goes into cost of goods sold or cost of sale. But if you're bringing in a marketing team, that must go into the head office costs. Yeah, no, I don't understand. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And we need to check where we divide those up, actually. Because what you don't want to get demoralised if you're growing all the turnover and you're not making the money. You need to know why. It's because you're deciding to grow it more than it needs to grow because you want to get to the exit point. So you've got to understand this stuff and as a family go, well, look, okay, we're losing money, but a lot of that money we're losing is because we're deciding to make an investment into people because we're going to have something much bigger at the end of the day. What you don't want to do is have your cost of sale diminished because you're making stupid management decisions.
Yeah, well, I understand. Makes perfect sense.
Okay, now my next question is, do you argue as a family? I'd like to know.
No, we don't actually. We get on pretty well. I think it's because we're all there for the same reason. We want to build and grow a successful
business. I've worked
business.
with lots of families over the years, and let me tell you now, they're all there for the same reason, but they can definitely have a little chitty chat loudly with each other. But there was something that stops families from arguing, and I'm guessing now maybe that's what you've got, is clearly defined roles. If everyone knows what they're doing and it's not all doing the same thing, the arguments stop. Do you feel like you've got that?
Yeah, 100%. So that's what I was about to say as well. We don't encroach on each other's kind of roles and responsibilities, and I guess,
and you can then hold each other to account.
Yeah, and I think that's something we've really worked on this year, particularly actually, because we've needed to.
That's the reason. That's the reason you don't argue.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. I've never really thought about it.
Most family businesses do not do that.
Okay, well, that's a positive then.
They all merge into one. You can't hold people to account, and everyone sticks their oar in, which doesn't happen usually in the professional department. The marketing team don't go and start taking over the accounts team. It just doesn't happen. But with family businesses, it can be, everyone sticking their oar in where it's not needed, which just doesn't happen in the professional term. The other thing is, as anyone that's got a family business, it's really important that only the family get the role if they would win the job at interview with other candidates, especially as you grow. Really, really important. And also the other thing that you guys need to mention, you're building this business to sell. You've clearly identified that already. So you are going to have to start bringing in external management over the next 36 months as you groom the business for the sale. And so that's going to be difficult for some family team members to handle, because they always believe that family should be the management. But actually, sometimes bringing external management outside the family can be where family businesses explode in growth. And you need to, when those awkward conversations happen, it's just reminding everyone, well, if we want to get the best sale value, I absolutely know this because I've helped people and sort of gone through it myself. The value of a business is on the management team before the profitability.
Really? Okay.
Profitability comes very quickly. You could be the most profitable business in the world, but if the family are running it all and they're controlling it all, no one wants to buy it. Well, not for good money. It'd be another family that buy it. But if you want to sell for big money, you're going to be selling to people with OPM, which stands for other people's money. So venture capital or private equity, one of these big outfits, and they're going to be buying into management team first, profitability second. Now, you guys as entrepreneurs, we're buying into profitability first, because that's how we're wired up. Opportunity, profitability, where we could take this. But people that are investors are buying into management teams first.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And I do think that's where we're having a bit of a problem, to be honest, James, is, we've got myself, as I say, Andy and Alex, dad and brother, sort of really in the mire every single day. We've got a little bit of management below us, but they're probably not performing as well as we need. I think we've probably realised that they're not necessarily the people that are going to really help us get to where we want to be in terms of sale in the future. And trying to negate that and find the right people is a massive struggle for us. I think the problem.
I think my point that I want to say here is, do you know when you're going to start looking to sell?
So we've got it in our plan that we wrote in January that we're talking sort of 5 years' time.
5 years' time. So I think you jog on your own for the next 18 months, unless a dream candidate comes into your place. So you get the EBITDA up, you get the profitability, the contracts and the customers, and then you start at from year 3 onwards, starting to put the management team into place so that it is a commercially profitable enterprise that works without you in it. Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that, because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University. You're the CEO of the business, or whoever it is. First things first, we need to get cash flow over the line. Bringing in as much cash flow into the business. You're the cash flow executive officer. And then you turn into the recruitment executive officer. So that's what an owner of a business does. Bring in sales, get cash flow, pay the bills, deliver EBITDA, deliver profitability. Second, now I've got to recruit an amazing team. E plus M equals S. You're the entrepreneur. It's now time to bring in the management. to run the day-to-day of the business to take it to the next level. But first of all, it's about bringing in cash flow. Yeah, and let's be absolutely clear, £120,000 a month for a startup is not many people have been doing that after 36 months. So how do we get that doubled? JB and I would probably join forces on how we would do that. 3 challenges in the business, though. The challenge are finding trustworthy, reliable staff that are willing to work. I think they are out there. You just have to kiss a few frogs to find your prince. Maybe you need to pay $5,000 more than everyone else in the marketplace, so that people want to come to you. What incentives do you offer? If you're in a competitive marketplace, you need to be competitive, and maybe you need to go slightly out of industry and retrain them up, like that example that I gave earlier. That really does work. Challenge number 2, I feel we're at a growth ceiling wall. What can that be the case? What do you mean by that?
So I just feel like where we are, I guess we've kind of almost touched on it a bit already, but kind of where we are with the turnover, with the staff, I feel like we're almost like our maximum capacity of what we can do. And that seems like a bit of an odd thing to say, really. And I guess
it is odd to me, because considering you used to do 3.5 million a year.
Yeah. That is,
so you're like a third of the way, and you're already at the ceiling. But only 3 years ago, you were doing 3 times more. What's the difference?
I think it's because of these problems we've got with staffing and management and cash flow and stuff like that. It makes it a bit more challenging to think that we can keep pushing, if that makes sense.
But I think that's just a naff excuse, because you had it 3 times bigger 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You was running something at 3.5 million 3 years ago, answering to, all these rules that probably constrained you at times frustratingly. Now you're free of the shackles.
Yeah.
I think if you had 3 more engineers, would you be able to get the work for them? I think you could, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think we could if we increase the marketing output, of course. Yeah.
Right, so you just know your own, the answers to your own questions there. And then challenge number 3, currently feel the day-to-day relies heavily on the 3 directors. Well, yeah, because you've got a 3-year-old. Businesses are like children. Like, you wouldn't leave a 3-year-old on its own unless you employed someone to look after it full time. And you haven't employed the manager to look after the business. You are the entrepreneur, the leadership and the management of the business. And it might be like that for a little while, unless you've got the cash to employ an amazing manager. And you should be looking. You should absolutely be looking, and hire slowly. Make sure you choose the right people.
Yeah. Yeah, I never even considered it when you say it's like a 3-year-old. Yeah, it's quite funny, really, because it's completely true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you have got Dad's decades worth of experience in dyno rods that you can just accelerate over that. The way I would grow this business, I'll talk to JB in a minute, because I've realised I've gone on for quite a while. And
that's good.
I think, not that we need to give Google any more money, but I'd probably be spending $5,000 a week on Google Ads.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you would just know if it's working. Yeah, but what the mistake is, I think people spend £50 on Google Ads a day, and I hate to say it, but my experience is the budget just has to be a bit bigger to work it all out. And you've got to make sure.
I think we're spending $3,000 or $4,000 a month on PPC.
And is it working, the $3,000 or $4,000 a month?
Yeah, no, it does. It does. The agents, I guess, with the agency we're using are good. They tell us our cost per lead. They give us the stat information, how much market we're covering. And we actually got a meeting with them tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So,
for every £1,000 you're putting into Google Ads, what are they saying is your return on ad spend?
I think so. Cost per lead on the drains, if that's what you mean on that, if I've understood that. I think it's about 37 quid a lead on a drainage job, which is like an unblock or something. We also do kind of leak detection.
And what do you get? What's your average order value?
Average order value on a drainage unblock is probably about 170 quid. But what we're trying to do is find the root cause, which then leads into a repair, which can be thousands odd.
Oh, yeah, keep putting the £37 in.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
So they've really honed that in for us over the last couple of years.
And I just want you to be absolutely clear here, and I think we should understand this. Before, we made 3.5 million of turnover, and some years we made a loss. What percentage franchise did you give to Dynarod? Just the headline franchise fee, was it 15% of your turnover?
No. It was more like 25.
Right. I mean, come on.
That's all your money now. This time around, that's all your money.
So out of your 3.5 million is it's like 900 grand.
Yeah.
That you were paying to Dynarod.
Drops to your bottom line.
Like, I'm telling you now, if you spend 900 grand on Facebook ads a year, Google ads a year, you would.
We'd cover it all, wouldn't we? Pretty much.
Well, and some.
That agency's doing a good job for you, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Because so often on this podcast we hear about agencies, and you can hear that they don't really know the information. If they're reporting back to you, they're giving you the stats. They know the lead price well enough from the agency versus the cost of that job. They're doing a good job, and it becomes a case of if you can put £1 in the machine and get £2 out, the job then becomes, from a cash flow perspective, how many £1 can you put into it?
And what's great about you get a second bite of the cherry to get the second job, which a lot of people that use Google ads, like Party Pieces, for example, they might where I do a lot of Google ad spend, they might only buy from me once a year, twice a year, or once a year for 5 years, but they're only going to spend £33.98 with me. Now, granted, I'm not paying £37 a lead, but I would be happy to spend £37 to get a £200 job. But if I'm then going to get a second bite of the cherry repair that's 2, 3, 4, 5 grand, that £37 becomes very economical.
Yes, completely with you on that one for sure.
And way less. I mean, I just want to reiterate the point, way less than the £900,000 of British sterling pounds that you are paying to Dynarod for a £3.5 million business.
Yeah, sure. I know. I completely get your point. Yeah, I think you just kind of get dragged down a bit sometimes, don't you, when you're having a rough time or a challenging time, and you just need to get your focus straight again, don't you?
What's the challenge? You're 36 months old. Like, it's not easy. There's a startup. It's not. These things take absolute time to get over the line. And the good thing about Google Ads is you do see the money return very quickly, don't you? You see you get the cash back in very quickly. It's not like doing radio or TV that sometimes might get you much bigger returns, but takes a lot longer to get the returns.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Yeah, you're getting those leads and conversions in quite quickly and instantly. As soon as the phone rings, or the web inquiry comes in, that sort of thing. I think it's we just need to carry on with it, don't we? And perhaps we need to be a bit braver with our thinking, perhaps.
Do you know what I think the weird challenge is? Because you got rid of a business, or you sold a business that's like 2 decades old, then you've started in the same sector, so you think you should be expecting the same results straight off the bat. But again, you've got to look at, this is a 3-year-old company. This is not the 20-year-old.
Yeah, we might be being a bit impatient, perhaps.
But you know what? Having a bit of impatience is not necessarily a bad thing. But just sometimes a conversation like this, they just realigns you. Go, do you know what? Actually, that 37 quid lead for 170 quid job, that's actually really good going, because you've got no other metric to go on at the moment. Like from us two sitting outside of your company, from outside the sector, that's a really good return on your ad spend. Yeah, it is. Is it across the board? You'd be happy with that? Yeah, 100%.
Especially if I was getting a 2, 3, 4, 5 grand bite of the cherry for the repair. I would be trying to do as many £200 things, even if I spent £200 on Facebook ads or Google ads, because I know I was going to get a 3, 4, 5 grand thing on the back end. A little bit like Disney Plus gets people into. What is that feedback? Can you hear that, JB?
It's on that side.
On his side,
the speakers.
So there we go. Okay, we had a little bit of feedback there. Hopefully our listeners can hear it. Should we get into questions before we get into grading? Is there anything else you'd like to ask us?
I mean, I do on my list of questions. I had one there which was interesting, and partially covered, I guess, is how do we get the business ready to sell? And obviously you've got lots of experience in that, I'm sure. And what how do you go about finding buyers? Because obviously we would think maybe it's another trades type business that would want to be our buyer in the future. How do you kind of nurture that or find that, or does that kind of make sense? What I'm trying to say.
Yeah. So the big money comes when you've got management in place.
Yeah.
That is the hard and fast answer to it. Yeah. Secondly, you want to pay an amazing accountant-based broker. So these are qualified accountants selling your business, not a business agent, in my experience. Okay. So someone like Grant Thornton, but Grant Thornton would only touch you once you start making at least $1 million profit a year.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
What I don't like, one of the biggest things that annoyed me is like, you'd be saying the top level stuff, I want to sell my business in a few years for £1 million. I'm like, why? Do all that bloody work. You might as well get it into the best possible shape so we sell it for 3, 4, 5 million, because I don't think there's that much difference between the work that goes into selling a business for £1 million, 5 million. You might as well do that little bit of extra effort. And the reason you're already saying that, which is great, by the way, that you're putting your hand up and saying, look, I want to sell my business, I've got a clearly defined goal, means it will happen. But you've already gone through the process and you sold to bloody British Gas before. But what's really important to get maximum value is make sure that you have at least more than one person that's really interested in buying your business. You don't want to be in a one-horse race. You want to be in a one-horse race when you're buying, but when you're selling, you want to have multiple horses in the race so you create a bidding war.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think when you were selling Dino Rod, you're in a one-horse race with British Gas, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Buying you and you play to their tune. They are the Pied Piper in that negotiation.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, completely right.
We don't want that for you next time.
No, we don't.
But it's giving you great training because, I will be building Fast Fix over the next 5 years and very clearly say it's going to be a £5 million business with a 1.5 million of EBITDA. Now, there's some great things. If you go into my Entrepreneurs University, which you can use for free, 14 days, there's a whole section on buying companies and vision planning. And I've got a form in there that helps you, like a blueprint that works out what a business should look like. And it's like helps you ascertain what you need to get maximum value for when you sell. So no such thing as a free lunch.
Brilliant.
Go on to jamessinclair.net, enroll in the Entrepreneurs University. I'll even get Nige to give you a call after the podcast to talk you through it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. That's great.
And get along to one. I know you saw me, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, speaking at I can't believe
this. Is where you met Chuds was saying?
Yeah, I met Chuds, who makes all my videos, in that room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now he... is like my head of brand, head of content, my boss.
He's everyone's boss.
Yeah, he's everyone's boss. But, this is, another thing, my content has only started getting results in the last year. It takes a good while to get a business to be that thing that just works on all cylinders. So don't expect great, yes, we want to be dissatisfied. We want to be frustrated we're not where we're at, but it does take a little bit more than 3 years usually.
Well, that's good reassurance. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
As we wrap up, Dave, if someone has got a drain blockage issue in the southwest of the country, if they're listening to this podcast, they go, oh my God, the sink's blocked again. It's backing up. Where should they go?
Yeah, if you could go to our website, which is fastfixdrainageplumbing.co.uk. We cover Bristol and the southwest and large area. I'd really appreciate any calls or queries. Happy to help.
Awesome stuff. Brilliant. Thank you for being on, mate. Thank you for being so open and transparent. Good luck on the next stage of your adventures.
And please, you must come to one of my seminars. I'd love to see you there.
Come to the theatre.
Come to the theatre. Business masterclass in London. I'd love to see you because I think you'd really benefit from that.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree at all. No, appreciate that. We'll definitely have a look. Thanks for the time, guys. I really appreciate that.
Awesome stuff. Cheers. There you go. Brilliant. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for being on the show. There you go. He's Dave, all the way from the southwest of the country there, everybody.
He was a nice person. The thing is with those guys, because they were running that £3.5 million revenue business before, I suppose when you start again, it's probably frustrating that you're not there straight away.
Yeah. Like we said, though, I think he's looking at the 3-year-old company through the lens of an 18-year-old one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That is a better. What you said there is exactly what I was trying to say, but in a better way.
Yeah, but I can see why, because you think, from day one, to the point where you got this knuckles wrapped by British Gas. Well, they came after you after 12 months. I was a bit before. All right, so you were completely breaking the rules and regulations. Yeah. You knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah.
But you're never going to. It takes a while to get up to speed. Even a 100-meter sprinter, they're still getting going for the first 70 meters. It's only in the last 30 when they're going at full tilt.
I like his name, Fast Fix.
That is good. Yeah,
I really think that's a great name.
That is a good name.
Dino Rod is a very established brand as well, isn't it? I mean, talking about brand.
I wonder what they sold to British Gas for. I'm going to find out.
I like the bright, luminous orange vans just with the white writing on.
It's great,
I remember them as children.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
As a child, seeing them vans on the road. Very simple, compounding decades of doing these. Their vans look exactly the same compared to when I was a child. Yeah. I actually think they don't look exactly the same now, though. I think British Gas have not made them bright orange, have they? Or are they still bright orange?
No, I think they're still bright orange.
I just don't think they're as leery as they used to be.
Centrica, which is the company that owns British Gas, bought the drain cleaning firm Dynarod for $57.6 million in a deal that boosted the home services operations. Centrica said the acquisition gave it access to 14 million households that could rely on an emergency call out in a market worth 500 million per year. See, there we go. We talked in a previous episode about riches and niches. We talked previously to it was a building company. I can't remember the name of the building company, but it will come to me. And you were saying niche down, niche down, niche down. This is putting a pipe down a blocked hole for £3.5 million. There's riches in niches. And where there's muck, there's brass.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think when people, I think most builders or most handy people could probably unblock a pipe.
Yeah.
But you go straight to the specialist, don't you?
Yeah.
When you're in a panic.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time. Like, as I say, that old boy that used to come out to ours, Jim, he used to come out for 200, 250 quid or whatever it was, every single time. And I probably bought him out every, 8 weeks. And he would be there 10 minutes. Most of that time, because he was 80, I was him getting his overalls on that went up to his neck. God love him.
Yeah.
But then they said about the staffing issues. I reckon if you go to, a great bit of advice, go to slightly alternate market sectors.
Yeah.
So like grounds workers.
One of the problems is here is all three people in the family probably are quite protective and think very similarly. You just need me in there. We talk about we were spending £900 just sending 25% of our turnover to Dynarod. Let's just send a bit more to Google and get more customers, and then we can employ more engineers.
Yeah.
You probably find out Dad's sitting on a bloody pile of bricks where he lives for £2 million with zero mortgage.
Yeah.
Like, what is the risk here?
Yeah.
We've sold before. It's a recession-proof business. You could probably even go to a bank and say, look, we sold this to British Gas and we've done it before. We've been doing it for 2 decades. Can we have a bit of help here? I'm sure this is highly fundable to help with the cash flow if that's the worry. But there isn't really. I don't think there is a cash flow problem. I think it's just should we take the jump problem?
Mentality problem. Yeah. Well, maybe we will find it. But that should be another IT. Were we talking about in this episode about the ITV? Was that I get mixed up which episodes we've been talking about? If not, that would be a good one. You should go and do a YouTube series. You should go in. You should airdrop yourself into their business, whether they like it or not.
No, that's
and you should just.
That is the format that we're discussing. Yeah,
you should do that. Because that one there that's good to great. You could take them from good to great with a little bit of.
It's a good book. Have you read that book?
Good to great. No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, there's a famous entrepreneurship book called Good to Great. I thought that's where you were referencing that.
No, I'm just thinking that you could help them go from good to great. If you'd like James Sinclair to come and upset the apple cart in your family.
But why is it that someone was prepared to give Centrica $900,000 a year?
Because they don't think about it like that. Because they probably grew that business with Centrica.
We're going $4,000 a month to Google at the moment. But we was giving 900,000 Centrica, plus probably also doing some of our own direct marketing, not relying solely on the British Gas Centrica Dynarod model.
Well, it said they used to have to top it up.
Yeah.
So they're probably there's probably £1 million quid.
I'm getting angry now.
Should I get him back on?
No,
Can we get
no.
Dave back on the phone? Jim's going to go mad at him.
Right, let's rate him.
Oh, yeah, let's definitely rate him. Right, let's go
We've
for
got
it.
the rating jingle. So those of you that regularly listen to the show, we rate our entrepreneur guests, which is a reason why some people don't want to come on anymore, I think. No,
we should keep a scoreboard.
Yeah. Oh, what like they used to do in Top Gear.
Yes, we should. Right, note to self.
Reasonably
Okay.
priced car. Oh my God, that was such a good TV
That
program,
was
wasn't
brilliant,
it? A real story of entrepreneurship. They sold that model around the world in the BBC studios. Yeah,
It was their biggest selling show of all time.
Most profitable thing that the BBC ever done.
I'm not surprised. Right, hang on. I'm going to start to write them down. Dave from Fast Fix. Okay, so I'm going to keep a note. We start a scoreboard, Chuds. Good stuff. He don't care.
No
Go
one
on, then.
cares. Right, so the 8 traits of the great entrepreneurs. So I've identified what makes an entrepreneur great. And the greatest of the greats usually have these 8 traits. What's the snigger?
No, the fact that you said that we've identified it. Well, actually, I've identified it. Collectively, now it is a we.
Is it?
Like, yeah. All of your success I now have a micro stake in,
Right, okay.
including this.
Starting with the end in mind.
100%.
Yeah, they do get that.
Yeah.
But too small. We don't want to be selling for $1 million. We want to. If we're doing all this bloody work, we want to sell for 4 or 5 million. Yeah.
Yes.
Number 2, passionate about their cause.
I think he's passionate about the business.
Yeah.
It's
Never given
in
that.
the family business. Yeah.
Number 3, untold amounts of resilience. Yeah. Half a point.
He's been through the mill though. With they've.
Yeah. Okay. Get that.
Yeah, fine,
actually, you
3.
changed my mind there.
Yes.
Master relationships with people.
He hasn't got really good staff around him. I think the people who've got great staff have generally mastered relationships with people.
I think he could have that though,
100%.
if with a bit of time. So we'll say no for now.
No for now, but
He needs to work on that, and we do think he can get it.
Yes.
Number 5, commercial awareness. There was some,
Yes.
but not
marketing awareness.
limiting belief factors.
Yes.
Stop him from having the big commercial awareness of the real greats. But that's what really frustrates me about him and his family is they actually do know the stuff, but thinking too small. Like, we're going to sell our business for £1 million. I mean, for free of you. By the time you've paid the 10% tax on it, you're
just not going to work again for another year, aren't you? Really,
no.
if you end up with £250,000 in your pocket off the back of end of it.
Bloody hell. Look at you, Sultan of Azerbaijan over it. Not many people are earning £250,000 after tax a year.
Well, they do if they watch the Good to Great for ITV. Intellectual property.
So, I'm not going to... I'll give half a point for commercial awareness just because we're not thinking big enough.
I love when we do the halves because it makes it really difficult at the end. Fine, go on then. That's number 5.
They innovate so they don't evaporate. Not sure on that. I didn't get massive vibes on that. I'm not giving that.
No, fine.
What do you think? Do you disagree with me?
No. I think you're bang on the money, but I don't want to come off like I want to be the nice guy.
Number 7, they're master marketeers.
Absolutely not.
No. And they stay teachable and curious.
I would say so.
Yeah. They come
especially
on
after
this podcast.
20 years in the game. To still be, do you know what I think is really good though? 20 years in the game, sold to Centrica, and still willing to come and have an open conversation with someone. And go, there's bits of this that I don't know. Give us a hand and give us advice. It'd be really easy to go. I sold to Centrica. I sold to a massive PLC. But actually, he was willing to learn and be teachable. So the grand total, Dave has scored himself 4.5 points.
4.5, 5 is the regular, isn't it? I'd say.
It's about that, yeah. 4.5, 5. So there you go. He's the first ever. So he's at top of the leaderboard. As
but they absolutely could go right to the top if they did the right stuff.
He could. If they went from good to great. See, if I keep saying it, then ITV will buy it from you. Then that'll be another little stake of success I own of yours. Just notching that one down. Good things that James has done. Got him a TV show. Solid.
One of the things that I'm just thinking about here is family business, which make up the backbone of stable businesses here in this United Kingdom. I think a lot just listen to the family's point of view, and because they haven't got any outside employees, it's very hard to get a different point of view. So if you've got a family business, maybe you need to have a non-exec in your family, that you have family board meetings, and that person that is Switzerland within the family's thinking, that plays devil advocado to give you a different point of view, could be one of the fastest ways you accelerate the growth of a family business.
It also goes back to one of the things you've talked about before, which is finding other people who are in your space but not in your geography, and get advice and guidance on what they're doing. There must be loads of businesses like this.
Well, I think one-person entrepreneurs can do that but the family always have a strong opinion.
Yeah, it's true.
And most families,
especially a three. Three's the worst number, isn't it?
Yeah, they have the same religious beliefs, the same political beliefs, the same people that you should be with, same friendship circles, same wealth, all this stuff. And I think sometimes you need a different point of view.
Probably why I came on the podcast, get outside thinking. There you go. Well, if you have taken value from this conversation, imagine the value that you would get if you were watching this live, if you were absorbing this in your eyes and in your ears live in London. Could you imagine being live in London with James Sinclair as he takes you from good to great? Leicester Square Theatre, June the 10th. We've plugged it about 4 times now, which makes up for the times we haven't plugged it, hopefully, before.
There we go.
Or maybe not.
You can get the websites, the tickets to go and see Podcast Live at jamessinclair.net, or just type in James Sinclair Podcast Live London into Google and
give them some more of your money.
Yeah, give them some
more. Are you being sponsored by Larry and Serge?
No.
Because I know in previous episodes you've likened yourself to brands.
I'd love Google to sponsor us. Oh, that could change some things for us.
Couldn't it just? Right, we done?
Yeah, we're done.
See you in the next one. Ta-da!
Bye-bye. Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.